So all along we've been working with Dr. Sells and I together about trying to find ways for you guys to bond and to reconnect with each other and to understand what's going on and to feel like a team. That's been a real good theme for you guys, to feel like you're working together towards something instead of working against each other. And one of the things that I've seen going on, and you guys have brought up, is that hurts still happen in your relationship, and they're going to still happen. And I'd like for us to talk a little bit about how you want to handle those hurts and how you want to respond to them when they come up in your relationship now and into the future, so that you're fully equipped to be able to address them in a healthy way instead of kind of going to your separate corners and not talking about them like you used to do before counseling. So can you guys tell me a little bit, think for me a little bit about a hurt, not like maybe the worst hurt you've ever had in your relationship, and not something that's nothing, you forget in 2 minutes, but some kind of a medium hurt that's happened that we might be able to work on today to kind of learn the concept.
Well, I can go back to that other mail incident, if you like. That day when he came back, and saw that the mail hadn't been delivered, and he was getting upset, he called me lazy.
Okay.
And that hurt and stuck for a little while.
Okay. Okay, so that's a hurt on your side. Looks like you're doing okay with it, though. It doesn't make you feel flooded out with a lot of emotions or anything right now, so we can keep working on it. And then, did anything happen in that incident for you that you felt really hurt by something she said or did?
I mean, yeah, she, in that particular argument, she told me that I was, pushing her away. And that's not what I was meaning to do. I was meaning to bring her in instead of push her away. So,
Yeah. So that really hurt you because you felt like, how can you not get that? That's not who I am. That's not what I would do.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you felt similarly, like, how could you think of me that way, that I'm a lazy person, that I'm not trying hard here? Okay, so those were hurtful words that were said in an argument with each other. Okay. And in the past, it sounds like when hurtful words would be said, you would just kind of like keep going, not say anything about it, and move on. All right.
Yeah.
So what I'd like for us to do is one thing first, and that is to talk a little bit about using the strategy of apology with each other. And sometimes you have to wait till the floodwaters come down till you're ready to apologize, whenever you're really hurt and overwhelmed with emotions. But the sooner you can do it, usually the better. What's been your experiences with apologies in your lives, like with each other, with your families? Is there anything that's happened?
I guess with me, growing up, I don't know if I've ever heard a sincere apology from anyone, just because I guess me being who I am, I'd want somebody just to say something, even if it was their version of an apology. Like, I don't know if I've ever gotten like a real one before, just because I just want something to be said, whether it's real or not. And
but you really want it to be real.
Yeah.
You really want it to be a sincere, heartfelt.
Yeah, because
I
feel like everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that. Especially if they've been hurt.
Yeah. Especially if you love each other, you're married to each other. Yeah, to have that heartfelt apology.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up, there were apologies, but people didn't mean them, or they just wouldn't apologize for all the hurtful things that your parents did.
And I guess if they did apologize, I guess in my mind I felt like it was too late. Or I didn't. It was hard for me to accept it, I guess. Sometimes too.
So too little, too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're really emphasizing the heartfelt apology being really important to you, and then also like that your actions match up with your words. So that
Yeah.
it's not just apology, but that something goes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
How about what's been your experience with apologies?
Mine was kind of more the opposite. You know, my parents, if my brother and I had an argument, in the heat of the argument, they'd be like, say sorry and hug.
Okay.
And so it'd be like, sorry.
Yeah.
You know,
but
and
people didn't mean it.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I guess that's kind of that was my parents' way of kind of problem solving. And sometimes it was sincere, but most of the times it was like, let's pacify my parents by saying sorry this way. And so I guess I may not be quick to say sorry now because I was so forced into it
Yeah.
by my parents.
Growing
as a
up.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of similar, actually. You guys have a similar goal, and that is having something really heartfelt, like that's sincere, that's heartfelt, whenever there's been an offense. It can be kind of hard to get there, right? And when there's been an offense, like to get from the point at which, I know I said something I shouldn't have said, to feeling sorry about it.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened for you guys? Have you ever had a point where you apologized to each other? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What
A
happened?
few times.
Tell me about the exception. That's important.
I mean, oftentimes we know when we have arguments like the one that we mentioned.
Yeah, with the nail.
Right, like I think we both know when we say things that we shouldn't, but you know, it's incidences where it was like truly an accident.
Okay.
We're usually pretty quick to apologize. You know, like if, you know, we're playing outside with the kids and I kick a soccer ball and it hits him in the face. Sorry.
Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
Really
All
quick,
right.
sorry. So it's not like we've never apologized. And of course there have been other issues besides superficial ones like a soccer ball
Yeah.
where we've said sorry. But whenever it's a big kind of blow up thing, we usually just act like it never happened and make it disappear.
Okay. So most of the couples that I've worked with who have a hard time with that, and most couples do, so you're not unusual about that, find that there is a step that helps them, and that is to do a little bit of returning to the work that we've been doing with Dr. Sells and I, to being able to look at why. Like, why is it that this person hurt me? You know, what caused them to hurt me, right? I mean, one possibility is that they're just a mean and nasty person out to get me, right? And then you kind of feel that way sometimes whenever there's been an offense, right? Like, they just are trying to ruin my day. But then there's another possibility that's more realistic, and that is that certain experiences or something that's happened to them, either in their past or that day, has caused them to kind of lose it. So going back to that day and what you now understand after kind of deconstructing it and looking at the contributions, what caused, can I start with you? You're really engaged. Can I ask what caused him, you know, what was going on with him inside that caused him to lose it, start pushing you and pushing you and pushing you? What was inside of him?
I think that he is very on top of deadlines and dates and things. And so when something is due, it is like of utmost priority to get it where it needs to be. So the mail needed to be taken, no matter what. And I think that when I didn't do that, in my mind I had a reason not to, you know, because I was taking care of our sick son and I didn't want to leave him. Yeah. So for me, I validated the fact that I didn't do one thing to take care of something more important. But he may have, you know, he didn't know that I was taking care of our son who was sick. So when he got home, it may have looked like I just stayed at home and had a lazy day with our son and just neglected to do it for no reason. And so I think that's where it came from.
That's kind of where he is coming from.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then kind of like a personal trait, too, a little bit of being someone who gets things done, is responsible. That probably is one of the reasons that you fell in love with him, too, right? Yeah, is that he can really be counted on, very responsible, right? And so this kind of triggered him. But you've got a really good picture on that. And how about on her side? What was it that led to her kind of withdrawing and not matching and being with you there?
Well, now looking back at it, I think it was that I I didn't know all the details of her day, and I kind of just came in guns a-blazing, assuming that I knew the situation, and and I think that made her, again, just the more and more I pushed, the more and more that made her want to get away, and and I think looking back on it, if I just kind of slowed down and maybe asked her, why isn't the mail in the mailbox instead of, you didn't put the mail in the mailbox like I said,
Yeah.
So.
So you see how what you said impacted the other person. You see how their own kind of backgrounds contributed to the blow up, the mushroom cloud that happened that day.
Yeah.
And you see the effects of the mushroom cloud on each other, right? And I've seen it as I've seen you guys working through this too. Like, this really hit your issue around feeling, like you're not being responsible, right? And this really hit your issue about feeling pressured and feeling on the spot and judged, right? Mm-hmm. And neither of you wants the other one to feel that way.
Yeah.
Right. So even as you're talking about it now, how do you feel about the potential of offering an apology to each other for your part of the mushroom cloud? What would that be like for you to do right now? What would you need to be ready to do that?
I think enough time has passed since the issue, and we've talked through some of the roots of it, that I think I'm ready to apologize and make peace with it, because I don't think it was really either one of our fault. It was just neither of us knew all the details of the situation. I didn't realize there was pressure on the deadline for that, and he didn't realize that I was taking care of something at home, so it was just something that happened.
Yeah, so now that you've increased your understanding of what's going on, and really your empathy for each other, like you're really empathizing with the other person's position and what happened, it's not hard. Yeah. So then I'm going to give just a couple of tips. I'm going to ask you if you'd be willing to apologize to each other, and if you feel ready to even say, I forgive you. But just a couple of tips on apologizing that's really important. And one is to apologize directly for your part of it and not explain why unless asked. Okay? And the reason is that apologies tend to often go like this. I'm so sorry I said that, but I had a really bad day. I was overwhelmed, and it's really, it's really important that we make that deadline, right? Now, does that sound sincere and heartfelt?
No.
It sounds like I'm trying to excuse away my behavior, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's true, it's not going to work. So basically the idea is you need to break your apology down into steps, apology and forgiveness into steps. The first one being just, I'm so sorry I said those things. I should not have said that, right? Or I should not have done that, and stop talking. Right? Let the other person respond. Right? Do you guys want to try that step right now? Are you up for it? Right.
Sure.
Whoever would like to go.
I'll go. I'm sorry for what I said that day. And I shouldn't have said what I said.
That's not bad. Can you be really specific about what you said that was so offensive?
Yeah. I'm sorry that I called you lazy.
Okay. A lot is being said and not saying anything even. Is she open to what you're saying? Does it look like she's open and willing to listen and everything? Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Good. Good. All right. Your turn. Okay.
I am sorry that I did not drop the mail off, and I'm sorry that I withdrew from you when you got home.
Okay. Good. Yeah, you had the advantage of having heard the coaching on his side.
Yeah.
You got it. All right. First try. All right. So then that's the first thing. All right. The next step is to ask the other person, do you want to hear my perspective on why I think I did that, or you're not ready to hear that today. And being really okay with the answer on that. So you can understand doing that now is pretty easy because you've been kind of like figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have tried to do this maybe an hour after the original incident, all right, and the flood waters aren't all the way down, you might not have been ready at that point. And so time is important. So that's another step, and I won't have you do that part. But I think it's also important to do the third step, and that is, can you offer forgiveness? And really in offering forgiveness, that would be two things. It can be a gift of just, I decide to forgive you right now, even though I'm still angry about it, right? So not enough time has passed. Or I not only forgive you, but my emotions have changed now about it. I no longer feel angry. So an emotional forgiveness too. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wonder where you guys are about this right now. You feel like decisionally ready to forgive, emotionally ready to forgive this situation? Where are you at?
I feel emotionally ready to forgive.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Trevor? Halfway there, partway there. Where do you feel like you're at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely working. I'm working to get there. It, you know, it's still just it's just a new thing for me.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, you know, when it comes to an apology, you know, even giving them, like I want to make sure that when I'm giving them, like I want to make sure that I'm giving it 100% truthfully, you know, and. You know, I'm definitely I'm on the way there. Yeah, emotionally, yeah, I'm on the way. I'm not exactly there yet.
Okay.
But
okay, and that's really common, right? Because it takes a while to get through the hurt and pain, and understand what's going on, and then to replace that hurt and pain with more positive experiences with each other, so that you can, you know, kind of build up your bank account essentially and be ready for that.
Yeah.
What's that like to hear that he's working towards it and not there yet?
Part of me wishes that we were on the same page emotionally, but the other part of me is glad that he's honest and saying he's working on it.
Yeah.
I would rather know where he's at in all truthfulness than faking it.
Right, which would be repeating what your family did growing up, right? You don't want to do that. You guys want a sincere and honest apology. Yeah, so that's important. So then the final step is rebuilding your relationship to get back up to a place where you have a lot of positive replacements of feelings. And so that can be things like antidotes to what happened, right? So some of that is what you already did, like offering each other, like, I'm going to let you be quiet now, or I'm going to step in and be active and assertive about the situation and not be my kind of normal you know, self here. And that's one way of showing. I don't know if there are other things you guys have done that show your love and that you truly are sincere about working towards kind of replacing the negative emotions with more positive ones. What works for you guys?
One of the exercises Dr. Sells did with us was in stepping outside of our comfort zones, and so instead of just offering the gift of grace, I guess coming into what their characteristics are more. So he let me be alone for a time when I needed to be, and I helped him accomplish a lot of goals when he needed that as well.
Yeah. And that really changed the emotions around that incident, particularly. So the emotions start to shift for you. Did that help with your emotions too?
Yeah, it did. Like, that was, I would say that was probably the day where, you know, that I started to, you know, work towards, you know, emotionally, you know, forgiving. Because, you know, it was hard for both of us because we're not really, you know, it's uncomfortable for us to not be what we're comfortable being. Like, she's more comfortable being, you know, quiet, reserved, and alone. I'm more comfortable being assertive. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, instead of pushing her, I had to step back as a gift for her. But, I mean, it ended up being, you know, it was good though. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it really helped to transform that situation from a mushroom cloud conflict to more understanding, more on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also like to encourage you to just doing nice things for each other that you know the other person will like, you know.
Mm.
So that's just like, hey, honey, I know you like to spend time alone. You've been with the kids all day. Why don't you go out shopping by do you like to go shopping by yourself? Yeah. So, I'm guessing. So, why don't you go out shopping by yourself on Saturday for a few hours? And, you know, I just wanted to show you that I am trying to change the situation that I'm trying to show. You know, and then on your side, he's still working on the emotional piece. It is, hey, you know, what do you need to get done this coming week? Can we make a list for this week and things I can try to do to help you out,
Mhm.
right? And that's you showing him that you are going to be there for him and help him out, right?
Mhm.
In just little bitty tiny everyday ways
Mhm.
about the way that you do that. And it can be around that issue and it can be just around general things, being affectionate, having good sex, all that good stuff is very important. And so to replace those negative feelings with more positive ones, make it easier to feel emotionally forgiving.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so thinking that's really powerful, the things that are related, but other things can go in the pot too
Mhm.
and help.
Huh. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.